What is your reaction to what people tell you? Do you get upset? Are you happy? Do you tend to listen or just talk back? It's a good question. The question you have to keep in mind as well is, how do you respond to what people tell you? I think that's a growth mindset moment right here. Welcome to my channel. My name is Alain Faber, and on this channel, I share with you how learning new skills is the ultimate tool to make the world a better place. In order to have a growth mindset, you have to look at what information comes to you. I call them input, and what comes from you, and I call it output. And that's something we'll be talking about today. When you teach a language, you need to keep in mind that we have the input. So you are showing students different word, vocabulary, sentence structure, pictures, and so on. And there is the output. The output is what the students can tell you, share with you in the new language. They can come up with conversation, with description, and different type of communication. But in order to have good output, they actually have to have good input, and that is important. Now, what happens to us when people tell us stories? Well, there's some people that do like to share negative stories. They do like to share, to gossip. There's people that all they want to do is say things to get you going. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is when you are listening to others, I want you to put filters on, because you need to be mindful of the input you receive. Now, I'm not saying that you can't listen to friends. I'm not saying that you have to not pay attention to what your family members are saying. I'm not saying that it's not important to consider constructive criticism. I'm just sharing with you that sometimes people tell us different things. Things that can make us happy, things that can make us indifferent, or other times make us very hurt or upset. And that's not helping us. And that's when I mentioned earlier that filters are important. And that's why you have to keep in mind that you have to control your reaction to what you hear around you, but you also have to decide what you will allow people to tell you with the relationships you have. Now, this topic is something I've struggled with for many years. And the reason is, some of us, or some of you may have encountered what we call people that have a lot of empathy for others. When they listen to story, they feel what the other people's are feelings, and that's a good way for us to understand others. And sometimes we have to be mindful, because sometimes stories can make us feel sad, or maybe feeling us a bit depressed after it's being said. But we know that it makes others feeling better, and that is important. And that's why at some point you have to see, okay, if I want to help others, I can either have filters, in which case people are telling you different aspects of themselves, different stories, and you decide what you will decide to have affect you. It is important to decide what's important for you. For example, if you are with people that are positive, solution-oriented, and want to make the world a better place, there's a lot of people like that. I'm one of them. It is easy to be positive. On the other hand, if you're with a person that needs a lot of help at that time, or if you are with people that enjoy the negativity and are not solution-oriented, then you have to decide what's best for you. I was listening to a video from Dean Graziosi, and he was talking about what do we do when we deal with people that are negative, or people that need more help. And he was saying, it's for you to decide what you want to do. And the idea is not to decide to let all negative people out of your life, because we love a lot of people. What we need to do is decide, okay, I'm going to decide to be the best person I can be, the best helper I can be for 3 months, 6 months, or a year. And then that's the goal you make. And by being the best you can be, you see if you can be a positive influence to others. Now, you'll notice that when people are very, they can be influenced quite a bit. And if you notice that by being positive and being the best person you can be, trying to make the better world for yourself, for them, for others. And if you notice that that person is getting better, becoming more positive and wanting to make a better world for themselves or others, then you notice that you have a great positive influence on them. On the other hand, if after 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, whatever time you decide to spend helping them, if you notice after that time that they haven't changed, you will notice that it may be time for you to decide what's best for you. Because having spent that much time on growth for you, on growth mindset, on learning new things, on affecting positively the world around you, you'll have to decide what you want to do with that person. You could still decide to stay with them. You can decide to find someone else to help them. Or you might decide that this person, that you have completed the relationship you have with this person. And that's okay. People come in our lives and go in our lives, and it's part of us, of our experience to decide who is great for us, who we can help. Sometimes we need someone else to help other people, because sometimes, as much as we are great, sometimes we don't know everything. We don't have all the skills to help others. And what happened is, it's the same here. I know a lot of things. I can help a lot of people, but I cannot help everybody. I don't have the training. I don't have all the information. I don't have all the skills, and sometimes not all the interest to help as much as some others can be. And I believe that you are the person that can decide what's best for you. Now, here are 3 tips about how to deal with input, about information coming to you and how to deal with them. The first thing you have to keep in mind, the first tip, is to see the information coming to you. Is it a risk for your safety? Because you have to keep that in mind. Information around you, an alarm, an event, is your safety at risk? Yes or no? If it is at risk, you need to deal with the input, because you want to be as healthy and safe as possible. Now, if your safety is not at risk, then you have to figure out, okay, I have an input, I have information coming to me. How can I deal with that? And that brings me to my second tip. My second tip is for you to realize that the input that you receive, is it about you or is it about the other person? And that is important, because if the information is about you or for you or related to you, you need to address it and say, okay, if I receive this message or this information, is there a way for me to grow from that information? That information could confirm something you know about you, something that you could learn so that you can become a better person. Or it could be a situation where you say, okay, maybe I can address it and decide if it's important for me. If it is important for you, you deal with it. And if it's not important, then you decide, well, that's not something I need to deal with, related to or as a function of the vision I have for a better future. Now, if the issue is about the other person, then you have to keep in mind that the information is the perception of the other person about one piece of information. And you have to decide, do you want to make that input or that information as part of you to help them, or do you prefer to say, well, this is the situation for them to deal with, and you're not interested in dealing with that? Being conscious of that will make your life easier, because if you are saying, okay, it is important, I want to help the person, then you'll know what to do. If you decide that it's not important for you or your vision to make the world a better place, set it aside. See, that is important, because that will allow you to make a decision at the time about the input. And it will be less time for you to worry about what to do with the information. The third tip I have for you, and that is important, it's about grounding yourself. Regardless of the input that comes to you, you need to find ways to ground yourself so that you feel stable, emotionally stable, socially stable, emotionally and physically. That means that you need to be active so that you're physically fit if something comes to you. You need to meditate, or you need to discuss with some other people to help you, so that if something comes to you you can address it emotionally, in a healthy way, so that you can grow. And I think that is important. And that's why some people will meditate, some people will have a coach, a mentor, some people will have therapists to help them to discuss and just try to see what to do with feelings, what to do with a situation, what to do to grow from what's happening to them. The call to action for you today is, when the next time you receive some information, I want you to take 5 deep breaths. 5 deep breaths. During the time, you will be able to decide if your safety is at risk, yes or no, if the information coming to you relates to you or another person, and ground yourself so that you can effectively address what is happening. Don't forget, you are a great person, you can do a lot of things, you can help a lot, but it's okay sometimes to ask for help for another person. Ask for help to help yourself, because we're all growing and learning every day. On that note, I'm going to put a link to my playlist of Best Life Journey, where you're going to learn as I go along all the great things to focus on growth mindset and knowing that learning new skills is the ultimate tool to make the world a better place. I'll see you in the next video.